Let's start with a big question. What if the systems we all rely on to learn and make a living are, well, fundamentally broken? So today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical new model that's trying to fix all of that by rebuilding our world on one single powerful idea: trust.
Okay, so let's get right into it. This isn't just some abstract thought experiment. For millions of young people out there, that old, clear path from getting an education to having a stable career, it just feels way more confusing and uncertain than it ever has before. So let's be honest with ourselves. Are the systems we've built actually setting up the next generation for success? Or are we accidentally failing them?
So, before we can even begin to talk about a solution, we really need to get our heads around the problem. And it is a big one. We're talking about a fundamental crisis of trust. The old traditional ladders to success seem to be crumbling, and it's leaving a whole generation of young people feeling pretty insecure and disconnected. The philosopher Noam Chomsky, he called this a vicious cycle. And it's a great way to put it. I mean, think of it like a game where the winners get to rewrite the rules to make it even easier for them to keep on winning. It's a structural issue that traps wealth and power right at the very top, making it incredibly hard for anyone else to even get a foot in the door. And this isn't just an economic problem, right? It's a social one, too. Professor Michael Sandel calls it the tyranny of merit. It's this corrosive idea that the winners deserve absolutely everything they get, and the losers, well, they only have themselves to blame. And this kind of thinking just shreds the fabric of community, leaving everyone feeling more and more isolated. So what happens when you mix all of these forces together? Well, you get a world that feels unstable and disconnected. That bridge that was supposed to connect the classroom to a career, it feels like it's collapsing. And our faith in the very institutions that were supposed to guide us along the way is just fading away. And that leads us to a really powerful question. Instead of just trying to put a bandage on a broken system, what if we actually had the courage to build a brand new one from scratch? I mean, what would a system that's designed from day one for collaboration and trust, what would that even look like?
All right, so that brings us to a potential answer. A movement that's actually trying to build that new system, it's called Future's Edge. So what is it? At its heart, Future's Edge is a global, member-owned ecosystem. Now, this is not just another top-down company like an Uber or an Airbnb. No, this is a network that's designed to empower its members, to give them a real, genuine stake in the system that they're all building together. This chart just perfectly captures that fundamental shift. We're talking about moving away from that old-school hierarchy and control and towards a model of networks and collaboration. But, the most important change here, the real game changer, is this. Instead of a system that's designed to siphon value up to a few people at the top, this is all about creating and sharing value with every single person who contributes. And the operating system for this entire model? It's trust. But trust isn't just some nice-to-have feature here. It is the core protocol. It's what makes everything run faster, cheaper, and way more creatively. It's the secret sauce that unlocks the true potential of the entire network.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But what does it actually feel like to be a part of this? How does it work on a day-to-day basis? Let's walk through what the journey looks like for a member, from the moment they join to when they make a real contribution. It all comes down to this simple but really powerful four-step loop. First, you discover projects, missions as they're called, that you're actually passionate about. Then you claim a specific task within that mission. You prove that you've done the work. And then you earn rewards that go way beyond just cash. You're building the reputation and a portfolio of real, verifiable skills at the very same time. And this is where it gets really interesting. Just look at how a real project gets broken down. It's not some giant, intimidating, monolithic thing. It's a series of clear, manageable missions. And each one has its own focus and, this is the crucial part, its own transparent pool of funds that goes directly to the members who actually do the work. And that brings us to this number. So for a project with a total budget of, say, $45,000, over $31,000 of that goes directly into the pockets of the members. This is what shared value looks like in practice, not just as a buzzword on a website. And if we zoom in even further, down to the level of a single task, the transparency is just radical. Everything is laid out right in the open. What you need to qualify, exactly how to prove you did the work, who is going to review it, and the full spectrum of rewards you're going to get. There is no guesswork, no ambiguity at all.
Okay, so now let's pop the hood and look at the engine that's powering this entire journey, because it is a totally different kind of economy, one that's built from the ground up for fairness and for transparency.
And the proof is right here in the numbers. A full 70%, 70 of all project revenue is automatically distributed to members using smart contracts, which are basically just self-executing agreements that guarantee everyone gets paid fairly and on time with no middleman taking a cut. The rest, it gets reinvested right back into the platform and into local community projects.
And get this, the earning doesn't just stop when the project is over. The system has a built-in royalty model. So if you create something really valuable that gets reused in other projects down the line, you keep earning from it. This is absolutely brilliant because it encourages everyone to create high-quality, reusable work, not just quick, one-off fixes. Now this brings us to a really key innovation, the trust score. It's specifically designed to avoid that tyranny of merit we talked about earlier. See, it's not a status metric designed to create a competitive leaderboard. It's a trust indicator that measures how reliable you are and how much you contribute to the community. It's a tool for connection, not for competition.
So let's zoom out one last time and just think about the big picture here. What happens when a system like this really starts to scale? What's the ripple effect on the rest of society? The potential impact here is massive, and it's multi-layered. This isn't just about empowering individual members, as amazing as that is. It's about creating a blueprint for changing education, for changing the future of work, and maybe even for changing how we govern ourselves. It's really a working model for a more decentralized and democratic world. But, maybe the most profound impact is on a human level. At its heart, this is more than just a platform. It's meant to be a kind of digital sanctuary, a place where anyone who has ever felt like an outsider in the traditional system can finally find a sense of belonging and the psychological safety to be their fierce and fabulous self. And that really brings us to our final thought, a provocative question to leave you with. What actually becomes possible when we stop building systems of control and start building systems of trust? What new futures could we unlock if we give the next generation not just the tools, but also the trust to lead the way? Really makes you think, doesn't it? The possibilities are pretty much endless.